Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be talking about all the books that I read in 2023. I read 16 books. I started the year with Verity by Colin Hoover. I was pretty excited to read this book because it was so hyped and everybody around me were talking about Verity. And it was quite well at the beginning. It was very interesting and then it just went down. I was genuinely scared while reading this book and I called my friend to be with me while I read this book. The build-up was really good, but the climax was pretty not there. Well, that's it, and that was really disappointing for me. But then, the ending, I loved the ending. That was the starting of the year. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I loved this book. The charisma, I can feel Evelyn's charisma from the book. I adored her from the first page and I adored her the last page. Overall, it was very fun. It made me feel things and that was overall an experience. I think every time I'll feel exactly the same way I felt before, very connected and very entertained. And the third book would be Atonement. I have the physical copy of this book. I had been holding back watching the movie for the longest time because I could not find the copy of this book, and I got it and I read it. I don't know how to explain. It made me go through very big emotions. Well, it starts with two lovers, friends turned lovers turned enemies turned they are not allowed to love each other, but there are too many barriers and it's just too sad. And it's about lovers who can't meet and lovers who can't be lovers. The ending made my heart drop and I don't know if I will ever read this book again. The other book is Circe by Madeline Miller. I had been waiting for the longest time to read this book too. I know I already said that, but yeah, this year I read the books that I really wanted to read, and this was one of those. But the book in the middle, it got quite monotonous and it got quite boring for me. I don't think I grasped the concept of the book fully according to what I hear about them. So I think I'll read it again and then I will review it. I don't think I'm eligible to talk about this book because I didn't get it fully, and the next time I read it I will read it very carefully. Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas, and it's 1096 pages long with newspaper handwriting. It took me straight 1 month to finish this book, and I was carrying it everywhere with me, everywhere. I come home and I read this book. I go to my university and I read this book, and it's so heavy, but I carried it everywhere with me. This book just felt like a whole series to me. It went through so many emotions, so many years, so many generations. This book started out as a newspaper story, and if I was in the generation in which this was printed in a newspaper, then I would probably run to get the newspaper every day. The other book on this list is The Immortal of Meluha by Amish. It is a Hindu mythological book and it is about the god Shiva, but he is portrayed in a way that heroes are portrayed. He's a normal human being instead of a god. The stories that I've heard since a very young age written in such a way, and I honestly was a fan. And the other book on this list is The Invisible Life of Addie Laurie. I did not like it. It was enjoyable, that's why I finished it, but I did not like it because she lives for 200 or 300 years. I was really excited to see her in Asia, but she never came to Asia, and that's what really disappointed me because she was not in Asia. That's why she disappointed me. The other book on this list is Radha, and it's a Nepali book, and I actually heard the audiobook version of it, and it's again about a mythological god but in the female perspective, the goddess perspective, and it talks about feminism and how women are suppressed in our society, in Nepalese, in Indian society, and yeah, that's what it is about. And I don't know if the translated versions are bi-level. I was so glad that I got recommended this book. The other books on this list are the Dangerous Damsel series. And to be honest, I bought this book because of its covers. because of this cover in particular, because like I saw this and I wanted it with me and I bought it. I did not know this was the third book in the list, and these are standalone books, so it does not matter in which order do you read them. And I read it in third, second, and first. This is the first book in the series, The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels, and it has a beautiful cover. It's about a lady and her assassin and how they eventually fall in love. And it has magic involved, it has flying houses involved, and it's just so chaotic and so like when I started reading these books, I did not know where I was. I did not know what I was reading. There are so many things happening in such a chaotic manner, and you wonder how it makes sense. But it does. And the second book is The League of Gentlewomen Witches. Well, it's about a witch and a pirate falling in love, and they are mortal enemies. It's about robbery. Both of them are after that stone, but both of them don't get the stone because someone else, other pirates, steals it. How they steal a house, and how stealing a house for pirates is like it's not their code, and they do it, and how they fall in love. Yeah. And the last book is The Secret Service of Tea and Treason, the reason why I started the series. And well, it has a beautiful cover. Look at it. I could admire it all day. And well, it's about two agents that spy on pirates and witches. They are actually each other's competition. When I finished the series, I wanted to read it again in the order that is supposed to be read, and I'm sure I'll do it one day. Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. This is the last book, the only book that I had not read, and I finally got my hands on it and I read it. I always feel so connected to Jane Austen's main character, even if they are wrong. I always stand in defense for them. And well, it's the connection that always brings me back to her books. I still laugh when I think about it. Another book again is by Jane Austen, and it's called Lady Susan. I listened to the audiobook while doing random things around the house, like cleaning my room or doing my assignments, and I could not believe it. It's so scandalous. I can't believe it was written back then, and it's mostly letters, and how she makes every single person fall in love with her, and she's just not interested in them. I like this book more than any of Jane Austen's work. Moving on to the next book, Rebecca. And I wonder if you have heard about it, but it's a gothic novel by Daphne du Maurier. I took 1 month to finish this book because I avoided it so much. The main character, she is a young girl who married to a widower, and his ex-wife's name is Rebecca. It talks about how she haunts them, and I thought it was literally haunting them. I thought this was a paranormal book. It was not. It was about how the main character thinks about Rebecca too much, and the main character, the protagonist, doesn't even have a name, and she feels more like a ghost than Rebecca. The protagonist felt more like the annoying voice we all have in the back of our mind. One minute the character is sitting here, and other minute she thinks she is Rebecca. I should have seen the twist coming of this book, but I did not. I was so shocked when I read the twist. I could not believe it that I did not guess it. I loved the book more because of the ending. That's how much I like the ending. Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Tashikazu Kawaguchi. It's about a cafe and how the cafe allows people to go back in time. People found this book so very sad, and I read reviews on Goodreads about how they were bawling their eyes out, but I personally found this book very comforting. The first book has 4 different stories about 4 different people. They are all connected to one cafe that takes them back in time. Every time I read the stories, I just felt so satisfied and so calm and humble. The last book is one that we have all heard this year, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. And look at the cover, it's just so pretty. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's matte and the fourth wing actually shines. Yeah, like that. And the fourth wing was like walking down a memory lane for me. People criticize about how it is not original and it just took ideas from other people, but I think that's what makes this book more special. It gave me such divergent flashbacks and other book. Like, I used to read so many stories like these, and I just stopped completely. And then I read this book, and I realized why I like them. I love those books, and I think I'll continue reading those. And I finished this book yesterday, so the memory is very fresh. I give it a 5 star. Those are all the novels that I read this year, and I know it's not a lot, but I think it was a good reading year for me, and I'm mostly satisfied with my reading. Thank you for clicking on this video and watching till the end.